Success, in other words, translates into more money for his parents. Oh, for a larger corporation.
Back in 2017, PewDiePie dropped a video that most people thought was just another one of his funny roast sessions. He was reacting to Ryan's World. Yeah, that massive toy unboxing empire run by a 5-year-old. At the time, everyone was cheering for this little kid becoming a millionaire overnight. But Felix, he wasn't clapping. He was side-eyeing the whole situation. While fans saw a cute success story, PewDiePie saw something darker, a setup where all that money wasn't really going to Ryan, but to his parents, or even bigger corporations cashing in on his face. And honestly, looking at what Ryan's World has turned into today, Felix saw it coming from a mile away. This wasn't just another YouTuber throwing shade, it was PewDiePie spotting the red flags everyone else ignored because they were hypnotized by Ryan's massive earnings. So let's rewind to 2017 when Ryan's toy review, now called Ryan's World, was completely owning YouTube. We're talking tens of millions of views on every single video, sponsorships piling up, and a reported $22 million a year flowing in. The media couldn't get enough.
What are we gonna get?
I don't know. Who will you hatch?
See, she doesn't even let him finish. He was clearly about to say something there.
Who will you hatch?
Look at him.
And we even found a
No, you don't matter, because I matter!
Headlines everywhere called him YouTube's youngest superstar, hyping up this so-called new era of kid creators. But when PewDiePie watched one of Ryan's videos, something just didn't sit right with him. At first, he was laughing and doing his classic sarcastic thing, but then his tone started to change. The more he watched, the more uneasy he looked. It wasn't just comedy anymore. He was actually concerned. He questioned what was really going on behind the scenes, wondering if Ryan even wanted to be there. One of the first things Felix pointed out was how staged everything felt. And that's exactly what it looked like. This wasn't some innocent kid just playing with toys like the channel wanted everyone to believe. This was a kid performing on cue, reading lines crafted by adults behind the camera. The whole thing had this strange, overly polished vibe, like every smile and reaction was rehearsed for maximum clicks. Nothing about it felt spontaneous or genuine anymore. Every laugh was exaggerated, every wow sounded rehearsed, and the energy felt way too manufactured to be real.
Found a Walmart exclusive version too.
Ooh, why would any kid give a shit about that? Explain that to me, okay? Why would any kid give a shit about Walmart edition? It doesn't make any sense.
PewDiePie spotted it instantly and didn't hold back. He said it straight up reminded him of those old school child stars on TV, the ones being pushed to perform while their parents cashed the checks. And honestly, there was something undeniably sad about that comparison. Once you watched those videos from that angle, you couldn't unsee it. It suddenly felt like a business, not childhood fun. Exactly. No kid in the world cares about where the toy comes from. They just want to play with it. But Ryan's parents, they were out here pushing those Walmart exclusives like it was a mission. The branding was everywhere, and it was so painfully clear that the whole thing was a paid sponsorship. Now, that alone wouldn't be an issue unless you forget to mention it's sponsored, which is exactly what they did. PewDiePie caught that instantly and called it out loud. He noticed the video had zero signs of a sponsorship disclosure. Nothing in the title, nothing in the description, nothing in the video itself. And that's not just sketchy, that's flat out illegal. And here's the wild part. 2 years later, he was proven right. The FTC actually launched an investigation into Ryan's World for failing to disclose sponsorships to their young audience. Not long after, YouTube was slapped with a massive $170 million fine for violating child advertising laws. That means PewDiePie literally predicted a federal crackdown before it even happened. Talk about having an eye for trouble. But it didn't stop there. Felix also noticed something off about the numbers. He pulled up Ryan's videos and couldn't ignore the stats. Millions of views, but barely any likes or comments? Like 11 million views and only 9,000 likes? So yeah, the engagement was way too low to make sense. PewDiePie straight up said the views looked suspicious, like they might be botted or artificially boosted somehow. Of course, some people tried to defend it, saying, well, Ryan's fans are toddlers, they don't know how to like or comment on videos. Sure, that could explain some of it, but millions of views with barely any interaction? Come on, that's still sketchy.
Have you ever seen a video with 11 million views and 9,000 likes? Please direct me to that video because it doesn't exist. These are not real people. These are not real views. there's only 1,000 comments. Take a video where I had 11 million views.
How's it going, bro? My name's Today.
It got 22,000 comments.
Felix wasn't buying it for a second, and what really made him furious was how the mainstream media completely glorified the whole thing. Outlets like USA Today and The Verge dropped glowing articles calling Ryan the future of YouTube, praising his success like it was the most heartwarming story ever told. They framed it as a wholesome family dream come true, but conveniently ignored every single red flag waving in front of them. Not one of those articles questioned the strange engagement numbers or the ethics of turning a 5-year-old's childhood into a full-blown business empire. They just pumped out puff pieces and kept it moving, pretending everything was perfect. Meanwhile, an entire childhood was being packaged, monetized, and uploaded for views, and no one seemed to care. It's wild how something that's serious flew completely under the radar. Fast forward to recent times, when Ryan turned 13 and finally appeared on a podcast with his parents. And let me tell you, it was painful to watch. The energy was off from the start. His parents did almost all the talking while Ryan just sat there, quiet, uncomfortable, barely saying a word. And when he did speak, both his mom and dad stared him down like they were monitoring every syllable that came out of his mouth. It didn't feel like a family chat. It felt like an interview under supervision.
But channel isn't just Ryan playing with toys anymore, whether he's going to Disneyland, getting a haircut, or running a fever. His parents are the ones deciding how much. You see what I'm getting at?
Viewers picked up on it immediately. The comment section was flooded with people calling it weird and unsettling. One person even said, even Ryan himself is calling it a job, and he's only 12 years old. That line hit people hard. In the interview, Ryan talked about wanting to be an animator when he grows up, something that actually excites him, something that's his. His parents didn't just make a YouTube channel. They built an entire company around their son. There are now full-time employees whose paychecks literally depend on Ryan staying in front of that camera. That's an insane amount of pressure for a kid barely in his teens. And from what his parents have said, it's clear they have no plans to slow down. In that same podcast, they openly talked about the future of the brand, saying they might switch to animated characters or even bring in other kids to carry Ryan's essence. Translation, they're preparing to replace him. And honestly, it already looks like that process has started. His twin sisters are suddenly getting way more screen time, almost like they're being trained to take over once Ryan gets too old to fit the image. It's like watching a factory of kid influencers being assembled right in front of everyone's eyes. The brand has become bigger than the boy who started it. And that's exactly what PewDiePie warned about years ago. And at this point, it's crystal clear who's really running the show. Ryan isn't calling the shots. His parents are. His entire childhood has been turned into a brand, documented, edited, and monetized for maximum profit. Every milestone, every first, every private moment turned into content, packaged neatly for millions of strangers to watch. And for what? So his parents can expand their empire and keep the cash flowing.
Youngest star YouTube has ever seen. Are we celebrating this? Are we celebrating that the fact that this mother is like, you think he's getting any money of this?
It's honestly heartbreaking when you realize this kid's life has been treated like a business strategy. What makes it even sadder is that we still have no clue how Ryan actually feels about any of this. He's never had the freedom to speak openly, not once. Every time he's interviewed, his parents are sitting right there, hovering, supervising every word. Every answer feels rehearsed, every statement polished to fit the family-friendly image they've built, and that's exactly what PewDiePie was worried about from day one. He wasn't out here attacking a child. He was raising a red flag about what this kind of upbringing can do to a person's mental health. Because let's be real, child stardom rarely ends well. We've seen it time and time again. The pressure, the fake smiles, the burnout, the struggle to just exist as a normal person after growing up in front of cameras. It leaves scars that never really fade. In Ryan's case, it's even worse. His whole life is online, permanently. Every awkward stage, every embarrassing moment, every slip-up, frozen forever on the internet for millions to replay. That's not just fame, that's a lifetime of lost privacy he can never get back. But moving on, PewDiePie wrapped up his video in the most PewDiePie way possible. He literally dressed up as Ryan and started blowtorching a Furby. It was hilarious, chaotic, and honestly a bit disturbing to watch. But it drove his message home perfectly. The entire situation was absurd. Think about it. A 5-year-old shouldn't be running a multi-million-dollar empire. A child shouldn't be worrying about sponsorship contracts, algorithms, or how many views their latest unboxing video gets. Yet that's exactly what Ryan's world turned into, a business machine disguised as playtime. And of course, the media completely missed the point. Instead of seeing the deeper criticism, they twisted it into a headline war for clicks. Articles popped up screaming things like PewDiePie attacks 5-year-old YouTuber, trying to paint Felix as some cruel adult mocking a kid. But that's not what he did at all. He wasn't bullying Ryan. He was exposing a system that profits off children's innocence. He was calling out the adults, the parents, the corporations, and the audience that kept feeding into it. But because subtlety doesn't get views, they spun it into another YouTube feud for headlines. And looking back now, it's almost shocking how right he was. Everything he warned about ended up being true. The undisclosed sponsorships, confirmed by the FTC, the scripted energy, impossible to ignore, the ethical concerns. Now the main topic in every comment section. Ryan's world isn't the wholesome, family-friendly success story people once thought. It's a full-blown cautionary tale about what happens when a child becomes a corporate brand. So I guess the internet finally caught up to what PewDiePie was shouting about 8 years ago. Better late than never, right? Because yeah, PewDiePie was absolutely right about Ryan's world from day one. He saw straight through the smiling thumbnails, the colorful toys, and the wholesome family fun narrative. What he really saw was exploitation hiding behind bright lighting and brand deals. While everyone else was busy celebrating a cute kid opening toys, Felix was the only one bold enough to ask the questions that made people uncomfortable. And now that everything he warned about has come true, it's hard not to wonder what comes next. What happens when Ryan grows up and finally looks back at all this? Will he resent his parents for turning his childhood into a business? Will he struggle with the fact that every laugh, every moment, every private memory was performed for millions of strangers online? Or maybe he'll be fine. But the truth is, we just don't know. And that uncertainty is exactly why PewDiePie's message still matters today, because this isn't something to cheer for. It's something to question. Turning a kid into a brand might look glamorous on the surface, but underneath, it's a tragedy in plain sight. And if you're thinking, well, at least he made a lot of money, stop and really ask yourself, is any amount of money worth trading away your entire childhood? Because once it's gone forever. Ryan's innocence wasn't just lost, it was packaged, monetized, and sold to the highest bidder. If you agree, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because these conversations need to be heard.